The red light at a traffic light is said to last between 1.5 and 2 minutes, or about 120 seconds. Even though 2 minutes doesn't seem like a long time, a lot can happen in that time. When two teenagers on their way to pick up a friend saw a beautiful girl in the backseat of a car, a lot did happen. After what happened next, neither of them could have imagined that their day would change so much. This story starts in Dallas, Texas, with a life-changing event that two friends, Aaron Arias, 19, and Jamal Harris, 17, go through together. Aaron and Jamal have known each other for a long time. Since junior high, they went to the same school and were pretty close to each other. Up until that terrible day, they were just like any other teenagers. Aaron and Jamal were both interested in cars and knew everything there was to know about them. This was something they did outside of school. Aaron had just passed his driving test, so whenever he could, he took Jamal out for a drive. It was something they liked to do a lot. On a clear Saturday morning, Jamal had just finished eating breakfast when he got a text from Aaron asking him to go with him to pick up a friend who was stuck at work. Aaron told him that he will pick him up in 30 minutes. Good music was important for any drive. Jamal liked rock and roll more than pop music, but they still managed to get along. Jamal was picking out music for the drive when he heard a honk outside his front door. He ran outside, where he found Aaron waiting. He got in the front seat, and they were soon on their way. People say that driving is a way of life in Texas. People drive to their destinations if they are inside the lines. Here, not many people use public transportation. This also means that most cars are on the roads at the same time. To keep this traffic under control, there are a lot of signals all over the city. So before they know it, the boys stop at a red light. Aaron was tapping his fingers on the steering wheel and humming to the music that Jamal had chosen. On the other hand, Jamal was busy looking at the blonde in the black car next to them. She wore a pretty dress and only a few simple pieces of jewelry. Her golden hair fell in curls over her shoulder. She was beautiful, but something didn't feel right about her. Jamal saw the driver sitting in the front passenger seat. He was black and his hair was cut short, almost as short as a buzz cut. But he wasn't wearing a uniform. He turned around to look at the blonde, but she turned away and looked down into her lap right away. Jamal thought this little thing was strange, but he didn't give it much thought. Jamal saw the girl glance at him out of the corner of her eye. She seemed upset. He could tell she was uncomfortable and turned away, thinking it was his gaze that made her feel that way. The driver looked back at him and Aaron, then at the blonde. When their eyes briefly met, she quickly turned away from the driver. Jamal made a frown. This place is strange. Jamal's eyes went back to the girl. This time, she was looking right at him, but he could tell something from the way she was looking at him. If he wasn't wrong, her eyes showed fear. Jamal gave him a puzzled look. He looked over at Aaron, who had no idea what was going on. Jamal asked himself if he was putting too much thought into this. Before Jamal could say anything to Aaron, the light turned green. The driver hit the gas and drove away, and the car was gone. Jamal was having troubled thoughts because, if he wasn't mistaken, something seemed to bother the woman in that car, but he couldn't figure out what it was. Jamal's mind kept coming up with ideas about why the girl might be scared, sad, or doing something else he couldn't tell from her face. She might have been going to the hospital to check on a sick family member. Or, she might have been worried about a job interview. But why did the driver look at her in a strange way? It made no sense at all. Jamal saw the car again a few miles further down the road. He couldn't see much from behind, but the blonde was looking out the window, and the driver was still going as fast as he could like his life depended on it. Another red light made them wait again right next to each other. Jamal asked Aaron to look this time. Aaron thought Jamal was talking about how pretty the girl is, so he didn't notice anything else. Jamal thought that he was probably thinking too much about everything, and that there was nothing to look into. Jamal saw that the girl was looking at him again. He kept looking at her, trying to figure out what she was thinking. He saw that her lips were slowly moving. She was trying to get his attention. Jamal tried very hard to understand her, and she was shaking her lips as she tried to say something to him. Jamal's eyes got bigger when he realized what she was saying to him. She was saying help me with her mouth. Jamal told Aaron about it right away. He told Jamal to stop being so silly. Jamal swore he wasn't joking, but the car drove away again before Aaron could see for himself. Jamal told Aaron to follow the car while he used his phone to call 911. Aaron was still not sure, but he did what Jamal told him to do. 911, what's your emergency? Asked the person who answered the phone. Yes, I'm on the highway, Jamal replied. I'm seeing a robbery. No, not a robbery, a kidnapping. The boys told the person on the phone that they were following the car on Highway 175 right now. The operator asked them to explain what they had seen and how they knew it could have been a kidnapping. Aaron said, "When we looked in the back seat, the blonde woman was yelling, 'Help me.' Or something," he whispered. When they got to a busy road, the boys were right behind the car. Before they knew it, the car went into one of the lanes next to the main road. Aaron started to worry because they only have one chance to save her, and he didn't want to lose them. The boys didn't know what to do, but they had to decide quickly or they'd lose him for good. Aaron just drove into the alley next to the main road based on a gut feeling. It was strangely empty for this time of day, but that helped me move quickly and find the guy. After driving for a while without stopping, Jamal saw the black car get back on the highway a few miles ahead of them. Aaron stepped on the gas, and their car sped off. They went after the guy again through the streets of Texas. While the boys were talking to the operator, they noticed that the car slowed down a little and then took off at full speed. Aaron stepped on the gas and raced to catch up to him. The headlights of the car were turned on and off many times. Jamal and Aaron looked at each other and smiled. The driver knew that someone was following him. Now that he knows he is being followed, the boys were afraid that he might hurt the girl, hurt them, or kill them all. They could see that the girl was trying to get their attention by banging her hand on the back window. They had to save her from whatever awful thing was happening. Even though the driver was trying to scare them, the boys kept their minds on the task at hand. They kept following him while still talking on the phone. Now, he was driving like a crazy person. He turned his car, changed lanes quickly, and did everything he could to lose them. But Aaron was close behind him. The person who answered the phone told the boys to turn on their car's hazard lights so that the nearest police car would see them and come help them right away. The boys did what he said. They turned on their hazard lights and kept going after him. They were hoping to find a police car at any time, and the operator told them to stay on the line no matter what. Before they knew it, the boys heard sirens coming from behind them. They both breathed a sigh of relief. Now that the police were there, he couldn't get away. Aaron saw that the police cars had passed them and were now chasing the black car and trying to get the driver to stop. They kept driving while still on the phone. Aaron could see a bunch of police cars waiting at the end of the road. The driver had to stop his car because he had no choice. The police went down, pulled him out of the car, and put handcuffs on him. When they caught the man, the boys were very happy. The police officers opened the car's back door and let the blonde out. She was so scared that she was crying and shaking. When she saw the boys, she ran over to them and gave them a big hug. She was very grateful to them for saving her life. Jamal didn't think they were worthy of her thanks, but it was still humbling to get it. The cops cheered and praised the boys for being brave and having good instincts. The victim was then checked for injuries by paramedics. She had a severe head wound from being hit by something clear. The bruise from the injury was hidden by her hair, which is why the guys didn't see it and become more worried sooner. She was fine and didn't have any other damage besides this head injury and the obvious shock. When the police took the man into custody, they searched him and the car he was driving. It turned out that the victim, not the driver, owned the car. They found a gun in the glove box and a knife in the cushion of the front seat. His goals were very clear, and these results were clear proof of that. The boys followed the black car for about 40 miles, which was a very brave thing to do. They could have just ignored it and run the other way, but they went after him and saved the girl. No one got hurt, and the person who did it was also caught. It was an amazing thing to do. Even though no one was hurt, the police still had to look into everything. They wanted to know how the kidnapper got into the girl's car. They talked to the girl to find out more. She got ready and started to tell them about the terrible thing that had happened. Last night around 11 o'clock, the girl was coming home from a party for young professionals downtown. She was walking to her car when she felt 3 sharp blows to the back of her head. Someone had hit her from behind with something. She thinks the gun was the cause. The man then made her get into the back of her car against her will. A few miles later, he threw her cell phone out the window so she couldn't call anyone. The girl said that the injury to her head was making her lose consciousness, but she felt like this man was about to rape and kill her. But when the girl woke up again, the man was still driving and the sun was shining. When they came to a stop at a red light, she saw the boys in the car next to theirs. She thought this was her chance, so she tried to fight for her life. So she tried to look at the boys in the hopes that they would notice her. A background check revealed that the man driving the car was Charles Atkins Lewis Jr. He was charged with taking someone against their will. Also, the handgun that was found in his car was not licensed, which was another red flag. Even though the man was known, The police couldn't figure out why he did what he did. He didn't know the woman before, so he has no reason to be angry with her or try to hurt her. The man did not have a criminal record, so he was also not a serial killer. The police couldn't find a link between the person who did it and the person who got hurt. Atkins chose to keep quiet when he was being questioned. He was charged, and a $50,000 bond put him in jail. The man's lawyer said that until the man is proven guilty, he is innocent. He will go to all of his court dates, but we don't know why he tried to take the girl until then. The community was very proud of the boys for being brave and making good choices. It's better to play it safe than to get hurt. Even though they only had a hunch, they called 911 and told the police what happened. They also followed the man and saved the girl. Everyone noticed how hard they worked. The teen's brave act was the talk of the town, and news stations all over the country talked about it. People were interviewing them and making copies of their pictures. Their pictures were in all the newspapers and on all the news shows. In all of her interviews, the victim, who chose to remain anonymous, called them heroes. But the boys didn't brag about it at all. She says we saved her life, they said. You could say that we did. But I don't want to be that person who says, I'm a hero. The girl's many compliments to the boys made it clear that she was thankful for them. But in one of his interviews, Aaron said that he wanted to keep in touch with her. But he won't do that until the investigation and court cases are over, because he doesn't want to get in the way. In this case, it was a good thing to go with your gut instinct. Had Jamal not noticed a distress on the girl's face, he never would have caught the guy in the situation, and the ignorance would have cost that girl her life. So, it's important to be aware of our surroundings because you never know what's going on with people who can't speak up for themselves.